Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Oh.
Good evening, one and all present here, and welcome to 5 days webinar named E-GURUCOOL. I hope everyone is fine with the grace of Almighty. Before we begin with this session, I would request all of you to rise for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Thank you. Kindly be seated. Now, I would request Professor Nidhi Chandorkar, BMS Coordinator and member of Alumni Association, to give the introduction of the college and Alumni Association. Over to you, Nidhi, ma'am.
Thank you, Komal ma'am. A very good evening to all of you. Kamadhenu Gunavidya Sadaiva Faldaini. This shloka is embedded in us at Bant Sangha's SM Shetty College of Science, Commerce and Management Studies. This shloka literally means knowledge grants all the wishes all the time. Bant Sangha Mumbai was established in 1927 as a charitable trust and devoted itself to the cause of education, healthcare, and social reforms of downtrodden and underprivileged class of people. Bant Sangha's SM Shetty College of Science, Commerce and Management Studies was established in 2008 by Bant Sangha Group, Mumbai. The college is now permanently affiliated to University of Mumbai and it is an ISO 9001-2015 certified institution. The Bant Sangha Mumbai is headed by President Padmanabha S. Payadesa. The college is managed by Powai Education Committee, which is headed by Chairman Shri C.A. Shankar B. Shetty. The Vice Chairman are Shri B.R. Shetty and Shri Nityanand Hegde. The Secretary Shri Harish Vasu Shetty and Treasurer C.A. Harish D. Shetty. The college offers 6 undergraduate courses and 2 postgraduate courses. It also has a PhD center in commerce, which is approved by University of Mumbai. It also runs various need-based certificate and add-on courses. During this journey of 11 years, we have won many awards and recognitions. To name a few, we have been accredited with A grade in the very first cycle of NAC in the year 2016. We were also appreciated for this by the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra at Bant Sangha, Kurla. We have won IMC Ramakrishna Bajaj National Quality Certificate of Merit in 2019. We have won Education Excellence Award in 2017 by Indus Foundation, Hyderabad of New Jersey, USA. We have won Healthy Workplace Award in 2017, which was given by Arogya World of Public Health Foundation of India. We have some collaborations. These collaborations are mainly for skill development of students and faculties and also for academic exchange program and for research. We have state-of-the-art infrastructure. Our infrastructure comprises of 4 well-equipped IT labs. Our learning center, our library is full of online and offline resources exhaustively. We have 35 ICT-enabled AC classrooms. Today, we are inaugurating the 5 days webinar E-GURUCOOL, which is jointly organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Alumni Association. The Internal Quality Assurance Cell, IQAC, of our college acts as a catalyst for development of the system for conscious and consistent improvement in the overall performance of the institution. The cell has organized many quality enhancement programs this year. Orientation program for students, alumni meeting. It has organized multidisciplinary international e-conference recently, redefining business in digital era, issues and challenges. It organizes many national level webinars, like recently they have organized intellectual property rights, e-content development, innovation in workplaces, and many more. It conducts many faculty development programs, workshops, and conferences for teaching and non-teaching staff. The Alumni Association of the college was established in the year 2011 and was registered in 2018. Currently, the association has 1,600 registered students. The association is engaged in maintaining data of the alumni, dissemination of information about the college to the alumni, providing a forum for exchange of ideas on academic, cultural, and social aspects between current students and the alumni. The teacher in charge for the association is Assistant Professor Sahana Ravi Prasad, and the President of Alumni Association is Mr. Armand de Costa. This year, the association has organized annual alumni gathering known as Nostalumus and alumni picnic at Campwara village. The alumni are frequently invited by various departments and committees of the organizations of the college as guests, judges, resource persons, etc. I welcome you once again to the 5-day webinar. Thank you. These are our contact details: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you.
Thank you, Nidhi ma'am. Now I would request Principal Dr. Sridhar Shetty to address the gathering.
Good evening, everybody. Respected President, Chairman of Upper Education Committee, C.A. Shankar B. Shetty. The President of Alumni Association, Mr. Armand D. Costa. Sahana Ravi Prasad, the alumni in charge. Teachers in charge, Komal Tiwari and Nidhi Chandorkar. Today's another resource person, Mr. Harikrishna PILLAI, Vice Principals Dr. Liji Santosh, Professor Sandesh Shetty, my teachers and all proud alumni of the college. Dear alumni, we strongly believe that alumni is one of the strongest stakeholders of any educational institutions. Even NAC has recognized it. In fact, you are one of the partners of the progress of the institution. During the NAC visit, we invite the alumni and there is an interaction for nearly 45 minutes to 1 hour between the peer team and the alumni. Even though our alumni is small in age, it's around 6 or 7 years, has taken the baby footsteps recently, but it is quite promising. In the last 4 or 5 years, the total registered members is around 1,600. Now, you are contributing in many ways to the college. You are being invited to the college and you are sharing knowledge with our present students. You are helping us to organize the programs and the events. In many occasions, you have helped us in placements also. And this year, in the month of February or March, we had the meeting and we have arrived at a consensus that if it is possible, we have to contribute. We have to mobilize and contribute to the most deserving and needy students of this year, especially a part of their fees. I would like to bring one more point to use that. We have introduced our Power Education Committee, our chairman, C.A. Shankar B. Shetty, and vice chairman, Mr. Nityanand Hegde. They are the very strong pillars of their alumni. I think they might have left the college in 1979, almost 40 years. Still, they are going there and talking to the principal and getting some information, feedback, what you need, and they have contributed for the buildings. And I think they have mobilized money. I did not remember the correct name, Akshay Nidhi, and the contributions are given to the needy students every year. Even I stepped out my college in the year 1980. In 2017, after 37 years, of course, I might have kept a regular touch with my college. A call came from principal, NAC team is visiting, can you come? Within 1 minute, silently, I told I will come because it is my duty. I silently flew from Bombay, attended the college, and came back. Therefore, there is a very strong emotional bondage between the alumni and the college. When I went to my college in 2017, first I walked on the veranda, peeped to the window where I sat. I saw the place. I went to the canteen as an ordinary man, took a cup of tea there. That pleasure is immense. Therefore, the emotional bondage is very strong. Therefore, each and every college is now thinking of a very strong alumni meet. Now, I think in Mumbai, among the colleges, we have taken the pioneering step that alumni is talking to the students. And that too, not for 1 day, it is for 5 days. A series of webinars. And you are going to share your experience, your knowledge, what would be the skill sets required post-COVID-19. Therefore, I take this opportunity to appreciate and place and record Sahana Ravi Prasad, Komal Tiwari, Nidhi Chandorkar, and other my teacher colleagues for taking this initiative of inviting the alumni and making them to speak to our present students. I extend a cordial welcome to our chairman. Whenever I call, sir, there is a webinar, and that with a short notice, he always says, I am there. Sir, I extend a cordial welcome to you.
Thank you.
And also extend a warm welcome to our teachers who have taken the initiative, Sahana Ravi Prasad, Komal Tiwari, and Nidhi Chandorkar. Our main resource person today, Mr. Armand Costa, and Mr. HARIKRISHNAN PILLAI, and tomorrow Mr. Karan Boyer and Alban Amikat, and day after tomorrow, Ms. Tanvi Nair and Mr. Javed Khan are going to address our students. I also extend warm welcome to our vice principals, Dr. Liji Santosh and Professor Sandesh Shetty, all teachers. And now there are around 175 alumni, and you are the proud alumni. And I extend a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for your motivation and support. Considering the present scenario, some of our prominent alumni decided to contribute their bit by sharing their knowledge and expertise with the students. This 5 days webinar, E-GURUCOOL, is just the beginning of a new journey wherein prominent alumni will come share their experiences on e-platforms. This will help the students to connect with the alumni and learn from them. In this 5 days, students will learn about the career opportunities post-COVID, scope of higher studies in India and abroad, digital design using Photoshop, creative content writing, brand building, and last but not the least, about health and fitness. So you must have noticed all these topics are dynamic and our need of the hour. I would now request Professor Sahana Ravi Prasad to introduce our resource person of the day.
Thank you, Komal. Good evening, everyone. Today we have amongst us our two esteemed resource persons, our own alumni, Mr. Harikrishna Pillai, the youngest and energetic alumni of our college, and Mr. Armand Costa, the experienced and senior-most alumni. Mr. Harikrishnan Pillai is a BMS graduate of SM Shetty, presently working as a client experience executive at Eminence, a boutique firm that deals with corporate branding and reputation management. He was a topper of BMS throughout his 3 years graduation, and also he won the Best Student of the Year in 2018-19. He was a successful General Secretary of the college in 2017-18 and served as Joint General Secretary in 2018-19. During his 3 years graduation, he had won several prizes at inter-college level, and he was an active member of many associations and committees. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Harikrishnan. Our second resource person, Mr. Armand Costa, is a MCOM, MBA, LLB, and NET qualified, presently working as a visiting lecturer for students of both undergraduate and post-graduation in various subjects such as financial management, investment analysis, turnaround management, law, ethics, etc. Mr. Armand is a very talented alumni of our college who has contributed tremendously in college development as one of our active member of all Alumni Association from the inception of Alumni Association, that is from 2011. And presently he is holding the position of President of Alumni Association. He was the first student of our college to win the Best Student of the Year, and he also won several prizes at inter-college level. Thank you, Mr. Armand, for your gracious presence today. Thank you, one and all. Over to you, Komal.
Thank you, Sana ma'am. Now I would request Chairman, Powai Education Committee, Shri C.A. Shankar Shetty, to address the gathering and inaugurate the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening to everybody. I'm very happy to be here. Today's speakers, Mr. Harikrishnan Pillai and President of Old Students Association, Armand Costa, and the principal and all the members. I must tell you here, there are about 6 to 7 students of SM Shetty have become chartered accountants in my firm itself. I can name also, this is Asmita, Mayank, Sukanya, Siddhant, Ashish and Akib. There are 6, 7 people already passed and another 4 are there with us now. They are doing their CA. I hope they also pass chartered accountancy in my firm. So I am very proud of all the alumni of our college. Today, the basic requirement for a new students coming out from the colleges and universities is they have to adopt themselves for the new normal. After the COVID and the lockdown, the dynamics of the service, dynamic of the job place has been changed. I think all the alumni will vote for it because what was happening earlier and what was happening, what is the requirement now, it is completely changed. And this is very opt place that alumni are speaking to our students. They are helping them to develop that skills which are required in the new working place. As such, there is a problem of employability in the market. Our education system and the requirements in the real life, there is a vast difference. Although college like ours, institution like ours makes a lot of effort in developing them, training them with the new requirements, still our subjects are not aligned with the requirements of the corporate world. I think the seminars like this can highlight the requirements, what is requirement for the children when they come out, what is the skills required, now after the lockout and COVID, I think everything now working from home is the order of the day. For working from home, everything is through clouds, and even the working style, the reporting pattern, everything changes. I think again, the students has to have develop the new skills required for that. So I think I must compliment this Sridhar Shetty and his team for organizing such a beautiful, useful webinars. And also, I must say our old students, alumni, management is proud of you, and we always recognize and appreciate your contribution. Please involve more and more in the college activities. I must tell you, Dr. Sridhar Shetty has referred our college. Yes, we completed our studies in 1979, and last 10, 12 years, in between, we were not much, aligned with the college. But some 12 years back, when the present principal came to us, said there is no students, the number of students are coming down. So we sat with them, what is the problem basic, why the students are not coming. As such, city like Mangalore and around, there are not much youngsters. The people have moved out of the villages, they're gone to cities. But whatever the students are there, they have the economic problem. So the first thing what we did is, the first year itself, we said, whoever wants a scholarship will adopt it. From 800, within 3 years, we reached 1600 in that college by just contributing for the students' welfare, that fees. So we are continuing it till now. And every year, whoever wants a scholarship, we give them. It is not only for merits, even non-merit students also, we give the contribution. So it is happening. So every year, 50 to 100 students we are adopting. Whoever comes, we adopt. And the numbers are increasing now. And at the same time, we are also participating in various seminars and meetings and things like that. Even in the management meetings, we are helping them. Now we have also a little bit knowledge about running the schools, colleges. We learned from Dr. Sridhar Shetty and team, and we are implementing there. So results are coming good. I think this year we got a rank also in Vijay College, Mulki. So all this thing, this is for the alumni. You can make a difference in the life of the students. I think that is the greatest contribution one can make to the country. Thank you very much for your contribution, and thank you, Sridharana and his team. Keep the things moving like this way. We are with you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your motivation and kind words. Now I request the resource person of first technical session, Mr. HARIKRISHNAN PILLAI, to take over the session. HARIKRISHNAN.
Thank you, Komal ma'am. So hello everyone, welcome to E-GURUCOOL. My name is HARIKRISHNAN PILLAI. I'm a client experience executive at Evidence and a fellow ex-student from SM Shetty. I hope you and your family are safe and healthy during these unprecedented times. So before we get on the topic, here's a picture of me at my convocation holding my degree. I sincerely hope that this gets over soon and you get to live this moment in a more pleasant manner as well. Until then, as C. Shankar sir said, we have to get used to this new normal of our lives. So my topic for today is essential tips regarding career post-COVID era. I'm going to largely address to the students who just completed the final year and for the ones who just entered the TY. I chose this topic for the reason that because I know it's a very different experience when you enter the outside world after college. And given the whole pandemic thing, it changes your entire course of action. So I would like to highlight the do's and the don'ts concerning your immediate future. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the entire conversation into two categories. The first one will be for individuals who want to start working or who have already started working. And the second one will be for the students who largely want to continue with the post-graduation. So before I start, I just want to say that people have already started working. That's great. Most of these points are going to be related to you guys as well. The whole economic situation of our country is right now is out in the public. COVID-19 has impacted almost every industry, and companies are literally struggling to make their way out of this pandemic. The results of which are a lot of employees are being laid off. There's heavy cost cutting with respect to marketing and advertising expenditures, and the overall workforce that is already there. It's being optimized to the fullest. So all of this means that majority of the companies will have either paused the hiring process as of now, or they may be extremely slow, towards it, as it's certainly not the first priority during this pandemic. Given all of this, this whole situation also provides you with a unique opportunity to present yourself as a person who made his or her time being more productive during this lockdown. So that is a major green flag for a lot of employers, who are going through your resume or during an interview. So before that, I would like to start a session with what you can expect while job hunting during the pandemic. So if you are looking forward to a job, what can you expect? The first one will be unexpected or a short-term work, like work which is not related to what you anticipated at first, but can obviously help you build your resume. The idea is that you have to make it seem to your future employers that you were able to adapt to this challenging situation, and this can make your profile look more competitive. Consider learning the different skills that you get from this employment, so that you can sync them with the one that with the your preferred job work profile. To back this up with an example, I would say when I started, when I joined Eminence, I joined as a content writer, which was something that I was not a lot comfortable with because it was not my forte in the beginning. I used to assist my boss, who is the founder of the firm, in writing articles, basically for a blog. So seemingly after a few weeks of my time, I noticed that the social media team of our company was struggling with the content for, that is to be posted on different handles of our company. So since I am a little curious myself, I happened to ask my boss about it, that, if she's comfortable, I would like to join the social media team and I would like to help them out as well. Since I had a marketing background of my own, she did not budge, and she readily accepted it. And I started working for the social media team. As soon as I started working for the social media team, I noticed that the graphic design element of our team was a little, average, because we didn't have a dedicated resource back then as a graphic designer. So we used to, rely on these third-party apps, for all of our social media posts. And I had to Google a few alternatives, and we found this app called as Canva. It's a small version of Photoshop. Basically, it helps you design and brochures, and it much of the software knowledge. So anyone with a little bit of practice here and there can actually ace the app. So after my work, I used to come home and I used to practice, using Canva. In a couple of days, I got a hang of it, and I started designing posts and brochures using that Canva app. Seeming so, all the social media posts started getting more engagement, and my boss was really happy, and I was really happy also. Well, after a few months, I would say she also offered me a raise. The reason why I'm telling you this story is because I started off doing something which was unexpected, and at that moment, I felt that it would be a short-term work. But because of that, I was able to transition myself into something that that was my preferred job profile, which was really happening for me. So what I'm trying to say here is that even if at start, if you're doing something unexpected or a short-term work, it's fine. You might be getting the skills which you can get adapt to, and you can sync that with your preferred work profile or your preferred work profile. That's my first point. The second one would be bonds. You might have heard of it. It's like a lock-in period that companies use basically to keep you there for a specific period of time. Usually, lock-in period, it's not more than a year. Uh, but if it's, I would recommend settling for anything. I would not recommend settling for anything more than that, because as fresh graduates, I know that your plans can obviously change, within a period of time. So you should find yourself in a flexible situation so that you can adapt accordingly to it. Also, another thing is just don't be alarmed if you are asked sometimes to work for more than the traditional 9 to 5 work hours. it's pretty normal that even if there's a deadline or not. Don't be alarmed by that fact. Another thing that I want you to expect is an average CTC. This certainly addresses the fact that as individuals, we would obviously demand a good pay from our employers. And under normal circumstances, it would still make sense, you know. But during this time, I think if you are asked to stick for an average pay, do not avoid it. The situation literally speaks out the phrase, something is better than nothing. And as an average level employee, the significance will be largely on what you and your resume, you know, acquire from this, which are skill development and the experience respectively. So try to keep that in mind. Another point that I wanted to add here is internships. Now, as I said, if you're not able to find a job, you know, after constant attempts, or if you're not looking forward to a full-time job at all, I would still recommend you to try doing internships, because it's one of the best ways to get a practical understanding of your industry and your company's core functions. So some internships might pay you well, some may pay average, and some don't pay at all. But make sure that you get the learning and the certificate experience from them, because that counts a lot. As I'm currently addressing all the senior students, I'm guessing that this is not much very of news for you. Okay. And last but not the least, acknowledge your own efforts. You know, because you as new graduates are having to go through something that major people, you know, will never experience. So, but on a positive note, the way you pick yourself up, you know, during this lockdown, during this pandemic, is going to determine a lot about your potential. And while we are at it, I would also want to discuss things that you can do. Excuse me for a second. Things that you can do, or every graduate should. So the first point would be create and build up your resume. I know at this point in time, you know, like mostly all of you might be having a resume right now. Now, if your document sticks for more than one page, you know, like then it's not a resume, it's a CV. So understand the difference. So I will show you. I will show you a small, you know, an example here, which I have right now with me. Now, this is what I call a CV. This was for about 2 pages. So you can see, you know, you can see all the numbers. You can see all the things that you know, that are highlighted, that are given here, which probably you might not even need. Like I think an employer doesn't need to know what your hobbies are. You know, like I wonder why would they know it. You know, so you have to make a proper resume which depicts your experience, which gives out a description of what your experience was at a certain institution, at a certain college, at a certain work. So with a lot of you know, attempts, a lot of feedbacks from different people, and a lot of help from Google Baba, I was able to, you know, come out with something like this. So if you can see, this has much less of a number, but it has more of the descriptive stuff. I've tried to explain a lot of the things about my experiences at work, about my experiences at my education, the projects that I did, large projects that I did for companies, my skills, the award sections, you know, and a small contact section for me. And I've added, if you can see, I've added my Twitter and my LinkedIn handles as well. I'll come back to that in a second. So the point here I was trying to make is that you have to make a resume which looks creative but subtle. You know, like I'm not telling you to add all those stars coming out from here and there. No, you know, you don't have to do it. I mean, unless you are a graphic designer, we don't want to see the creative side of you that much. But try to make a subtle design which shows that there's a lot of investment of time and energy which has gone into making it. The second point would be create and update your LinkedIn profile. Now, this is very important because LinkedIn is basically a professional identity of yours. It's the place where you make connections about your work, about the industry that you work in, and you know, it's a place where you describe yourself professionally. So, what are the things that are needed to make a perfect LinkedIn profile? Now, I have also curated that for you. I'll just show you my LinkedIn profile. I mean, obviously it's not perfect, but try to make this as a benchmark. At least you have to update your profile at least this much. As you can see, this is my LinkedIn profile. Yeah, believe me, that's me. The profile photo is not a selfie, and please do not keep it a selfie, because make it a close-up of your face, but try avoiding selfies there. I have also added a small summary. It's not small, but yeah, obviously it's enough. It's small summary of my experiences, my experiences at work, education, and the areas of my interest. You know, and I've also described my experience at my work and my previous education. Like, I've added my achievements in college. I've added my memberships and participations. So these are the things that I think you need to, as a student, as a fresh graduate, you need to look at. You know, employers coming on your LinkedIn profile, they'll be checking all these things. They'll be checking how you present yourself. That's what they need to know. That's how you have to try to make a LinkedIn profile and update it. The second point, the third point would be maintain your social media platforms. Now, this is something that I noticed after I started working. Employers actually look you up on your social media handles. So it's very important for you to maintain your handles. Like, try to avoid any form of profanity on any of these handles. I also learned from my mentor about the importance of building a professional audience on Twitter. Like, industry experts and people in general can voice their opinions on a platform like Twitter. So, if possible, try not to make Twitter a little more informal by putting a lot of memes or jokes and all. Try to show your areas of interest on that platform and try to build an audience of your own. It's going to help you in the long run, because, as you can see, all the industry experts, all the CEOs, the CXOs have a major following on these social handles, because they like to be the opinion makers, and people like such opinion makers. And probably in the course of time, then you can become a public opinion maker. So you have Facebook for you to keep the informal, to show the informal side of you, but obviously it has its limits as well. So try to maintain your social media platforms in a way that if any employers check it or look it up, it should be in a proper condition. The fourth point is online certified courses. Now, our college provides a number of courses as well. I did my Microsoft and my Google Ads course from our college, and apart from that, you will find a number of free and paid courses available on some of the top university sites. And all. Like recently, Harvard released a lot of free courses that you can do, which is something that I think you need to look at if that's a subject that you need to go after. I myself found a certified course on digital marketing, from Google, provided by Google, which I'm currently doing. It's called Fundamentals of Digital Marketing. So a lot of management students or any students in general can look that course up. It's a certified course and it holds a lot of value. There are also the LinkedIn also provides a platform with a lot of skill development and knowledge videos that I think you should take a look at. It's going to take a few hours of your time, but once you come out of the video, it's going to be that you have a little more in-depth analysis of the same. The last point would be attend webinars. Now, I don't know how much of you guys know about this, but once you connect with people on LinkedIn or on any of your professional setup, once you start working, you'll start getting information on the experts and important webinars and seminars in your field. Like, I have started attending webinars on my industry itself, because my work also tends to allow me to do it. So attend these webinars, because it's going to help you by giving you an overview of the market, and you can listen to the experiences of these experts and the evolution of the whole industry itself. So that is my suggestion for all of the people who want to start working or who want to start studying along with this. The next segment that I want to talk about is people who want to continue their post graduation. Okay. Now you have a number of options like MBA, PGD, masters. You can do it abroad. You have graduate certificate courses. So there are a number of courses that you can look at. You have to just sit and contemplate about which subject that you want to study going forward. So if you plan to do an MBA in India, you will have to start preparing for either GMAT or CAT. Now this is not you. You know about this. If you are planning to do an MBA, you have these two options with you that you have to look at. you want to do it abroad, GMAT is the way to go. If you plan to do it in the near future, although, I think it's the right time to start preparing for these entrance exams, because you have the time right now. Like, you have a lot of time that you can invest in yourself. You can rigorously practice for your entrance exam. But also note that until this pandemic is over, all of the colleges will be running online like normal. So if that's something that you are considering to do, I think it's a good option for you. Talking about MBA, typically we see all Indian students doing an MBA. Like majority of Indian students doing an MBA at a relatively young age. At a relatively early age. But outside India, like if you want to do an MBA outside India, you will find that all of the students that come for an MBA in abroad universities, they have at least 4 to 5 years or 6 years or 7 years of experience in hand. So they do an MBA only after having that kind of work experience, so that they can back up their post-graduation. Then it makes sense for them. But it's not the same in India. We believe in a much an early start for an MBA or a post-graduation course. If not an MBA, you also have an option for a PGD course, PGDM course, which is postgraduate diploma in management. We have the top B schools of India providing it. Now, the difference between an MBA and a PGDM course is that on career prospects, an MBA is more of a theoretical course, and a PGDM delves into the technical prospects, like providing you with the exposure to real life business situations. That's PGD for you. You have PGD in different subjects, depending upon what you want to study at. Another thing is masters. Master's degree is actually really subjective. It really depends on what a person wants to do. But I'll come to that in just a minute. The fourth option that you have, or the other option that you have, is graduate certificate courses. These graduate certificate courses are being increasingly popular in countries like Canada. Like if you are planning for study in Canada, you might be hearing either PGDM courses or graduate certificate courses making its way. In India also, we have a lot of graduate certificate courses. You might find a lot of options in business studies, in journalism, in sports, in technology. Honestly, it's a very honestly, if you're not doing a heavy course like MBA, or something, students usually prefer to work along with the postgrad. To work along with the postgrad, they do their masters or their post-graduation along with working. I want to emphasize the fact, because a lot of my juniors have been asking me about abroad studies, and honestly, I had my share of doubts too when I was to decide between a master's in India or in abroad. So, but here's the thing. Here's why I think a master's in abroad is not a good option as of now. It's not the right time as of now. I will back that statement with what one of my close friends experienced. She decided to do her master's, in marketing from Australia, and her intake was in the March of this year, 2020. She went about like a few weeks before her college started, just to settle in. Once the college started and it was running, in about a week or so, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it hit Australia also, like every other country. All the colleges had to shut down and they had to shift their classes online. Now, there's no problem in shifting classes online, but I'll tell you why. The Indian education system, the transition from an Indian education system to a foreign education system, it takes about, like a month or two probably with a traditional classroom setup. Being in a classroom, it takes you about a month or two to get used to it. Now, when it comes to online classes, once you start with the online classes and this transition from the Indian education system to an abroad education system makes it very difficult for you. And it being online, it makes it even more difficult. So she was having troubles, understanding, because that education system is more into like practical concepts and practical assignments and all of that. And she's expected to communicate, to collaborate, and to also contemplate on a lot of assignments. So which became a problem given the whole online situation. So transition was a problem, but because of the pandemic, the whole situation there changed. She was not able to get a like a part-time job or a co-op job as well. So what happened by that is that her expenses, or from living there, increased tremendously. Like she had to ask for a certain sum every month, to a family. And if your family is able to back you up with the finances, then good. Otherwise, spending lakhs of rupees, or spending that great amount of money on masters abroad right now might not sound ideal for some. And with people generally tell me that it's okay, like even if you are completing your degree there, I'll have time to work there and to repay all the money back, to repay all the debt or the education loan. So I would say that yes, definitely you will be getting time after your degree. Probably the stay back will be for a year or two, presumably. But after that, if you're not able to secure a proper job, you'll have to fly back to India. That's the problem. And with all the economies of each and every country recovering, they'll be busy tackling their own unemployment problem of their citizens. So you will be the second priority for them. Okay, the first priority will be for their own citizens. Like you can see what US did right now. It's suspending the H1B visas for all the the citizens, for all the immigrants, basically. So that is what each and every country would do. It's not something that you can blame them, because they want the unemployment problem to get solved in their country first. So I'm not saying that the abroad studies is not a good option for you. I'm saying that this is not the right time. You might have to wait for a year or two, possibly, until this whole situation dials down and things start getting back to normal. Then it's something that you can look forward to. So in the meantime, what should one do? Like, what can you do? So I have a couple of points for that also. You can do a master's or a relevant PGDM course here in India. Now I'll tell you why. Because I had a group of friends, this is something that I and my group of friends, usually regret talking about. My group of friends, they decided to go to Canada for their post-graduation course, not a master's, but a PGDM. Since all of them were like pretty confident that about what they wanted to do in Canada, they never thought of doing anything meanwhile here in India, for the time they were here in India. So the intake for the batch for them was September of this year, 2020, and they were planning to fly to Canada in the month of August or 2020. But because of this whole pandemic situation that happened, they had to obviously defer the admission to next year. Okay, but there was this one person in the batch who had a very smart move. What she did, as soon as she graduated, she opted for MCOM. She started doing her MCOM along with working. So all of the other group members were just working. They were working at a firm, at a corporate. And this female, she started working, and she started doing her MCOM together as well. So normally the plan was that after 1 year, since she won't be able to complete the MCOM, she is going to either drop the MCOM after 1 year, and she's going to continue with the Canada studies. And then probably when she comes back to India, she's going to complete that. That was her ideal plan. But because of this COVID situation, the entire timetable got postponed. So now she's completed MCOM, and by the time next year when she'll be going to Canada, she would have completed an MCOM, the entire course. So the others who plan to go to Canada, they'll have a 2 years of work experience. But this lady, she'll have a work experience of 2 years plus a master's degree as well. That is amazing. Why? Because once she completes her master's and once she goes to Canada and completes a course, it's going to be easy for her to land a job because she's more qualified than any of the other group members. That's a situation there. That's why I am asking you that if you are planning to go to abroad and if your plans are also stalled because of this whole pandemic thing, I would say that you try to do a master's here, like a course like MCOM. I would say at the initial time, even I was a little reluctant whether I should directly do an MBA or not do an MCOM at first. But now I see it because during this whole situation, it makes you wonder, like if you during this whole lockdown, if you're able to utilize this whole lockdown to the fullest and doing a master's degree or a course that is, it's very work friendly as well. Like a course like MCOM is very work friendly. The colleges are very supportive because they know the students will be working. So they are very supportive about, the lecture placements. and the lecture timings and everything. So it's a very good option for you to do a master's or a PGDM course here in India till everything settles down and you go for your abroad studies. The second thing that you can do is internships and jobs, because you have to gain experience. Like I said, gaining experience, it's a huge deal out abroad, because they need people who have experience. They do not entertain people, like without any experience. So it's a huge deal for them to hire students or to hire individuals who have a relatively more experience in this field. So internships and jobs are something that you cannot avoid. You have to work and gain the experience in the right industry. And like I said, update your profile with your certifications, like whatever certifications you get, whatever online courses that you do. Try and update them on your LinkedIn profile and make it a point that all of your social media handles or all of your professional handles updated and so before I want to conclude I just want you to know that this entire situation, version of you, to when all of this ends. So there'll be everything is moving a little bit fast or quite fast. Just want you to know that you should try and stop back at all of the things that you've done in the past. All your made and all the challenges that you've been through. This is nothing. Trip down the memory lane. It's actually going to, and it's actually going to motivate you in doing better. Thank you. That's it for my part. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Harikrishnan Pillai, for sharing the important information regarding right from what should be included in CV to the point about the higher education and the scope of career after COVID-19. So thank you, Harikrishnan. Now, here, I would like to tell you one thing for the participants. Some of you are raising your hands. You need to put your questions in Q&A box. Do not raise your hand, put your question, whatever it is, type the question in Q&A box. That is one thing. And one more thing, you will be given certificates based on the feedback that you give each day. We are having this webinar for 5 days. So each day we will be giving you the feedback link. You will have to fill the feedback link, and based on the attendance, those who have attended all the 5 webinars will be given certificate. Okay. So now I would request our resource person for the second technical session, Mr. Armand De Costa, to commence this session.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Harikrishnan Pillai did a very good presentation and covered quite a few points that I myself wanted to raise, which makes my work easier. So as far as higher studies are concerned, a lot of considerations need to be kept in mind as to where you want to go, India or abroad. We are at a point of very high levels of uncertainty. We do not know whether airports are going to open up 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line. You need to keep in mind the last time we had a global pandemic, it lasted for 2 long years. But notwithstanding the confusion that's being created by Corona, let's explore the options that we have. So when you're thinking about India, throughout this presentation, I've put down points keeping in mind students who would be thinking of doing an MBA, but I've kept content which would be applicable to students thinking of any course. Once we are done with this presentation, I'll be making this PowerPoint presentation available for all participants so that you all can follow the links in the presentation to go forward. You think about MBA from Harvard University, that's going to be something that costs you more than ₹1 crore without any financial aid. Compare that with the 1-year MBA at the Indian School of Business, which is just 40 lakhs. Compare that with the IIMs, which should get you out in less than 20 lakhs. Again, you have got something called the Faculty of Management Studies in Delhi, where the cost is around 50,000-60,000 for a year. All right, the reason why it's so cheap at FMS Delhi is because it is subsidized. Obviously, Harvard being a private institution abroad, they're not going to pay any part of our tuition bill. We'll have to do it ourselves or look for others who can do that for us. When we have seen borders close, a lot of students, I'm sure a lot of people you know, friends, family, may be still stuck overseas and unable to come back because all of a sudden freedom of movement has gone for a toss. So if you're studying in India and something like this does take place, you have the option of quickly getting back to family, which just does not arise in the case of courses being done, in the case of courses being done abroad. Anyway, going forward, we have, if you're looking at a career within India itself for family commitments, etc., it would make more sense to, you can say, do a course within the country, get placed within the country. If you were to think of, let's say, the environment of a classroom in the United States or the United Kingdom, it would be far less formal than the kind of disciplined environment or atmosphere you would have in an Indian university. So anyway, these are the considerations you need to think. These are your points in favor of learning within the country. If you had to go abroad, why would you go abroad? First of all, the world rankings in terms of universities will hardly see any Indian university in the top rankings for whatever reasons. The kind of investment that takes place in education, the kind of private sector, you can say, participation that takes place in education in India is very little compared to what you see abroad. And in that same way, the kind of opportunities one gets in terms of placements. Yes, if you go to the IIMs, you're in luck, you get a good placement. But for everybody else, the options well before Corona was the name of a disease. If you go back maybe 6 months ago, 7 months ago, Corona was nothing but a brand for beer. All right, so well before that, we had problems in terms of placements. Going forward, even reputed institutions within the country will have problems. As far as flexibility is concerned, you can opt for a combination of subjects, cross-disciplinary subjects when you go for a course abroad. That kind of, you can say, option does not exist within the country. As far as exposure is concerned, you go to an IIM, most of your classmates are going to be from the same country, speaking the same language, having more or less the same ideas. And the kind of diversity that you get by going to a foreign institution, meeting people from different countries, different cultures, sharing of different ideas, that's something you simply cannot replicate within our own university system. As far as your chance to work abroad is concerned, you go for a foreign degree, you get your work visa. It's a chance to move permanently to that other country or to explore immigrating to another country abroad in search of a better life. As far as course content and delivery is concerned, most Indian institutions are not, you can say, as modernized as we would like. And the kind of curriculum that exists in terms of practical based explanations, case study based explanations is something that is, you can say, much better abroad compared to India. And as you think about the liberal academic environment, I think there's a movement in Delhi called the Pinjada Tod, where university girls, imagine, above the age of 18, capable of voting the government into power, but being told that they cannot come later than 9 o'clock back to their hostel, kept as if like cattle. You would not have that in a foreign university. Come when you want, go when you want, do what you want, you're responsible, you're an adult. The infantilization that you see in Indian universities, forget about 18 and 21-year-olds who are treated as if they're attending an extended school in an extended childhood. Imagine that being extended to students who are doing their masters or PhDs. That is a reality in a lot of, you can say, educational institutions across this country. This narrow-minded behavior could actually be avoided if you go for a foreign degree. Now, when you think about the acceptance rate, think of how difficult it would be to get into an IIM Ahmedabad, 0.25%, but the chances of getting into a Stanford University is 5.4%. NITI, which is, let's say, not as well known as the IIMs, is 1.7%. It's harder to get into NITI in Mumbai compared to Harvard, where you have 9%. The reason why ISB, Indian School of Business, looks high at 22% is because students apply based on their GMAT score. So if their GMAT score is below that threshold, they don't bother applying in the first place, unlike in the case of those who are writing the CAT, which is used for admissions in most of these other institutions. The point here is that perhaps those who do have the money, do have the means, are able to arrange, should go abroad, because you end up going to what you would call an Ivy League or a well-known institution, and be able to qualify yourself accordingly. If you want admission into India, obviously you need to go through the best of the lot are the IIMs. To get into the IIMs, you need to write the CAT. And I have placed a very small section of the criteria that IIM Ahmedabad considers. This is a link. Once you'll have the slides with you, you can follow it and have a look in detail. It isn't true that only the CAT score is looked at. Once you're done with the CAT score, you have to write something called the analytical writing test, followed by personal interview. Apart from that, your 10 standard marks, your 12 standard marks, graduation, and work experience up to 3 years, all of them are considered while deciding whether or not to give you admission into the IIM Ahmedabad. Similar criteria is used in other institutes. Right? So just to give you an idea, if you had to pursue your MBA, this is what you're looking at. All right. This is the breakup of what you would expect in the CAT examination. A lot of you all are familiar with this. When you think about the mathematics section, if you were 10 standard, 12 standard level mathematics, you should be strong in that. As far as university rankings in India are concerned, if you're exploring higher studies, you can check out these 3 different rankings. Links are available, you all can follow. Going forward, when you talk about the Ivy League, when most people think about a foreign education, names of Harvard, Stanford, Columbia, Brown, Yale, all of these universities cross your mind. Now, to get into an Ivy League, the kind of expectations that are required, a GMAT score of 750 or more, you all are familiar with what the GPA means. Think about alumni participation. So again, giving back to the institution where you are originally from would be an indicator that once you're out of a Harvard or a Stanford, you're more likely to give them endowments. So they're more likely to select you based on how much you're doing for your own institution. Then when you think about a lot of students, a lot of your friends who are volunteering, and a lot of them actually end up doing it in order to get that certificate, which they can add to their resume or profile. Remember, profile building is important, but obviously we should do it with a genuine, you can say, sense of service rather than just for the sake of getting a certificate. Certificates can be bought for money, but the experience you get by helping those who are less fortunate is much more enriching. And that is something that these universities look for in terms of candidates. Now, when we talk about professional associations, you think of those who have done their chartered accountancy. You also have CMA, which you can do in, you can say, much lesser time. Think of the CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst. You have CFP, CE. All of these are professional associations which you can consider becoming a member of by doing this work. Now, going forward, as far as the GMAT is concerned, I have placed this for your information. Again, details will be accessible through the link that is placed here. You'll get access to detailed handbook as to how to prepare for the GMAT and the detailed syllabus under it. Alternatively, you have the option of writing the GRE apart from GMAT, although GMAT tends to be a more preferred entrance test by some of the best institutions abroad. The GRE is accepted not just for the MBA, but for other degrees as well. So depending on what you're trying to apply for abroad, you may want to weigh your options between the GMAT and the GRE. And as far as your funding is concerned, keep in mind, if an MBA at Harvard is going to cost more than ₹1 crore, this is a snapshot of what is available on the Harvard website, right? So 20% of Harvard families, students coming in, don't end up paying anything because they have been able to show that they cannot afford it. 55% of everybody going to Harvard receives some form of scholarship. Keep in mind, there's no 100% scholarship available from Harvard, but yes, those associated with Harvard, those who have passed out from Harvard, do provide, you can say, endowments which help students. And I've only pulled these numbers out of Harvard University. This system exists across universities abroad. And this is just to give you an idea that just because you don't have the money, that doesn't mean you cannot go for the course. Once you have secured admission, it will be possible for you to look for options in terms of financing. Now, obviously, when we think about financing, we need to consider where we are going to be able to get the money from. And we have a list of different scholarships. And this is just, you can say, a drop in the ocean, the tip of the iceberg. There are several more available. This is just to give you an idea. This is meant for people in India who want to go abroad. And most of these scholarships listed here are full scholarships. That means if you get it, it will cover your tuition and living expenses. Now, when you want to go abroad, it's not just the Ivy League, which you need to think about. Okay, Ivy League is a small set of educational institutions in a small part of America. We have the entire world. We have got good institutions in Europe, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, even in India, if you want to think about the ISB or the IIM. So now again, when we are thinking about choosing an institution, these are, you can say, a list of rankings which you can explore depending on what you want to get into. All of these are links which will be shared with you later. All right, with that, I'd like to conclude. Thank you very much.
Komal, would you like to continue? Komal, are you there?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yes. Okay. So, participants, you can put your questions in Q&A section. Don't raise your hands. Still, there are few people who were raising hands, who were raising their hands in between. You can ask your questions in Q&A section. So, thank you so much, Armand. Thank you for sharing a lot of knowledge on studies abroad, right from how to apply and funding and everything you discussed quite in detail. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now we will move ahead with Q&A section. So there is one question asked by Jishnu Jagdish. Sir, other than India, which countries should I consider for my MBA? I think this is for HK. HK spoke about MBA.
Correct. So apart from India, I would say the most popular destinations are UK and Canada that people try to prefer. But other than that, I would say any country like New Zealand or Australia, it really depends on what kind of university that you're looking at. And also obviously depends on your finances. Like, are you able to, put that much money in to it from a Harvard or a Stanford or a big Ivy League college? Because there are other colleges as well that provide you with a good MBA degree. So I would say these are the 3-4 countries that you can look at.
Thank you, HK. One more question for you. How to improve graphic design skill?
It's a very simple thing. I mean, if you really want to learn graphic designing, you just have to Google. I mean, you just have to learn it on YouTube. That's what I did. Like when I was trying to learn graphic designing, I am not a pro, but everything is available on YouTube. Everything is available online. So if you want to learn these choices, there are some really good channels that help you with graphic design skills.
One more question for Armin. A little bit unclear about GMAT. So it seems so Jim Walter is the person who is asking the doubt. So he wants you to discuss a little bit more about GMAT.
All right. So GMAT is a test for those who want to get admission in a management institution, mostly accepted by foreign institutions, even though some Indian institutions do accept. So it's a test which looks at your logical reasoning, analytical reasoning. You'll need to have knowledge of mathematics, English. Keep in mind, they're not going to be asking you things like principles of management. They're not checking your knowledge of management while deciding whether you should get admitted into an institute of management. What they're trying to gauge is your level of intelligence. Now, if you went back maybe 30, 40 years ago, we were not at a level where you had these guidebooks or online videos or sites where you would prepare for a GMAT. Okay, we have to a great extent ended up gaming the system, where we are preparing. We know what kind of questions are going to come. We know what format it's going to be. We have model test papers and we are preparing. But again, so when you're thinking about GMAT, you have sections where they're simply trying to test how smart you are. And according to that, you get a score and you can take that and apply. Keep in mind, scores for GMAT, unlike the CAT exam, you get a score, you don't get in, you do it again the next year. In the case of GMAT, you have a validity for a certain number of years. And therefore, it would actually make sense, given the fact that we are locked up right now. Prepare, you have time. Lock in that score so that maybe 3-4 years later, when you do want to apply, you already have it in place. You don't have to take time away from work to prepare.
Thank you, Armin. Now, before going to the next question, once again, I would like to tell the participants that the feedback link has been shared by Ms. Sahana Ravi Prasad. So there are two links. The link sent by the Sahana Ravi Prasad is the Google link for feedback. So you need to fill the feedback form as well. Okay? So we'll go to the next question. For good resume, I think this is for HK again. For good resume, what we have to do?
Okay, so for a good resume, I would say, see, as I said, you have to first understand the difference between a CV and a resume. A resume is something that employers look at and they want to know how you are able to present yourself. So that is what a resume needs, and it has to be a one-page document. So you cannot extend a resume of 1 page or possibly 2 pages, not more than that. So if you want to do if you want to make a proper resume, try to look at all the other templates that are available firstly. So just for you to get a more clear, more clarity on the same, look at how other people have presented. Look at how other people from your industry have presented. Like if you are someone who is into a marketing background, or if you are someone into a PR background, so how have PR experts or people from PR, how do they represent themselves on their resume? Try to understand that feedback, try to understand that style that they represent. I'm not just saying that just you have to copy content, but I'm just trying to tell you that this is how employers would like to see, like you represent yourself. So try to go through all these templates that are available and try to be a little more creative. Do not make it just a Word document, a single page document with just, like the white and black paper sheets. So try to make a little more creative, add a little bit of color, not more than that.
Now, next question is for Armin, I guess. What about Australia as a country for higher education?
It's a good option, especially given the fact that if you look at the population of Australia, Mumbai metropolitan region, if you were to add the populations of Mumbai, Thane, Navi Mumbai, a small little island and its surroundings has a population higher than an entire continent. All right, so every year they need people coming in. All right, they need to populate what is effectively an underpopulated island with a lot of resources. So let's say you were to go there for your MBA. That means getting a work visa wouldn't be that difficult. All right, you have a huge Indian diaspora already there. Within maybe 5-6 years, you'll end up getting citizenship if that is what you're looking for. Right, so in terms of which university, once we're done with the session, I'll be sharing the PowerPoint presentation, which contains links to university rankings. So you can explore different universities within Australia and accordingly take a call.
So once again, I repeat, the feedback link is shared in the chat box by Sahana Ravi Prasad. Kindly fill the feedback form. Participants, do fill the feedback form. Okay, next question again for Armand. For Masters in Food, Nutrition and Diet, are US universities better than India?
All right, I'm not an expert in food, nutrition and diet, but again, over here you are going to have to weigh the cost and mainly the cost between the two. So if you're thinking about going abroad permanently, then yes, that course abroad is going to be worth it. If you plan to continue staying in India, then I'd say you go for 1 year. If you asked a general question, is education abroad better than education in India? Sadly, education abroad is better than education in India. And obviously, if you end up paying 500 crore, 1 crore, at least 30-40 lakhs for a course, compared to India, where you end up paying 20 to 40,000, the course abroad is going to be better.
Thank you, Armand.
Thank you.
So this question is for HK. Sir, currently I'm working with digital marketing company and I have 1.5 years of experience and I'm planning to do my MBA in Canada. Is it okay to do?
Okay, so firstly, I want to say that if you plan to do an MBA in Canada, you will have to go through a GMAT or a GRE, like Arvind said before. Usually, MBAs there, I have also mentioned this topic. People who come for an MBA in Canada, who do an MBA in Canada, have at least around 5 to 6 years of experience. So if you're going to Canada with a 1.5 years of experience, firstly, it's difficult for the college to select you because they have a more stringent rules when it comes to selecting students for a master's degree. That's why people who end up going to Canada do either a graduate certificate program or either a postgraduate diploma. So doing a master's is it's the same rules that apply in the US apply in the Canada as well. So if you want to do an MBA in Canada, I would suggest that first it's better that you increase or wait and work a little bit more, gain a little bit more experience, and then think of an MBA from Canada. Another point that I wanted to highlight, I'm so sorry, about Australia. There was a person who asked about it. If you are planning for a stay back in Australia in these two cities, that the two main cities, that is Melbourne and Sydney, so you might get like only 2 years of stay back after your degree. But if you're looking at like how Armand said, to get to go to a university which is not that densely populated, the area which is not that densely populated, as he said, they want to increase the population of that area, so they might increase the the stay back for 2 years. They might even increase it to 3 years, and it might be easier for you to like get a permanent visa, get a PR after 3 to 4 years of being there. Thank you.
Thank you, HK. There's one question for Armand. Armand sir, after graduation, what is the process of GMAT?
You can
have spoken about GMAT, but they want to know the process of it. Yeah.
Not very complicated. You can go to the website, you can register. Unlike the CAT where it happens once a year, GMAT is effectively a walk-in exam. So register, prepare, schedule your attempt. And as of right now, because all of us are locked up, surprisingly, they're conducting it at home. Okay, so online proctoring, it's not an open book test. All right, your mic and your camera will be active. There's somebody on the other side who's watching you. But yeah, there is no restriction as to when do you need to register. Simply go to the website. It's as easy as setting up an email account. And obviously, once you do pay the fee and register, there's a time limit within which you need to give your attempt. So I would say you can have a look at the website, but you don't need to register to prepare. There's online material to prepare available with you now. While you all are in college, you all should actually be practicing those kind of exams, not just for GMAT, also for CAT, also for GRE. There are several other entrance exams for MBA within India. You think about the XAT, the Xavier Admission Test. All right, so all of these exams, a lot of them have common questions in terms of logical analysis and analytical analysis, the maths that's involved, the English that is involved. All right, so if you, let's say, write that exam, I know a lot of students in their final year end up writing the CAT exam. So perhaps around the same time, you can lock in your score for the GMAT and hold on to it for the next 4 or 5 years, and then take a call to go into your MBA.
Thank you, Armand. Now, once again, I would like to tell the participants they need to fill the feedback form. We are going to close accepting the responses within 5 minutes. So kindly fill the feedback form. One last question for HK. Can you please suggest a few certification courses that can be valid for a master's in marketing course?
Absolutely. For masters in marketing courses, you have to learn about what is trending right now is the fundamentals of digital marketing. So if that's some course that you are, if it's a area of expertise that you're trying to look at, I think doing such online courses on marketing will be helpful. Google provides you with a course which I am also currently doing right now. It's called Fundamentals of Digital Marketing. Other than that, you might find a lot of skill development and certified courses which are available on LinkedIn Learning as well. So if you want to do that, you can check that out. A lot of universities and colleges are providing free and paid online courses, especially during this lockdown time. So it's better that you Google it a little, and once you get a hold of these universities or these courses, you have to just dedicate a specific amount of time, and it's an investment that is that's going to help you in the longer run.
Thank you, HK. Now, there are a lot of questions coming in, but due to time constraints, we need to end our question answer session over here. So, participants, you need to fill the feedback link. We will close this feedback link in 5 minutes. Now, I would request Vice Principal Dr. Liji Santosh to propose vote of thanks.
So a warm good evening and an information-packed good evening, I must say, because our own kids have given us so much information today. So a heartfelt thanks to our management, our education committee for all their support, and a special thanks are due to our chairman, Sri C.A. Shankar Shetty, for inaugurating this 5 days session organized by Alumni Association and motivating us to organize few more webinars, which we have been doing since May. So in this continuous series, our management has been a huge pillar of support. My thanks goes to IQAC. Would love to thank our principal, Dr. Sridhar Shetty, being such a motivating spirit behind all our programs. And of course, the resource person of the day, our dearest kids who have grown up and become resource persons today. Armand DeCosta, our first batch passed out. Thank you so much, Armand. You have shown a lot of way to the students for learning abroad as well as in India, although you prefer to learn in India and want to grow up. So, but thank you so much that you are showing up lot of ideas to the students. And I really loved the way, I must say, how you all have answered the questions. And Harikrishnan, a young graduate, recently passed out. It's really glad to see you here, Harikrishnan. And you have really showed that beautiful resume. I really wondered, how people write such beautiful resume. So yes, we don't write so good resumes. So I must submit that. So really, thank you so much, both of you, for being here and enriching us with this kind of guidance and knowledge. Thank you, guys. And my co-partner, my other vice principal, Sandesha Shetty, for being his constant support and being here with us today. And of course, the whole credit goes to the Alumni Association chairperson, Professor Sahana Ravi Prasad, and her today's team comprises of Komal Tiwari and Nidhi Chandorkar for being so sporty and doing it so well, organizing it so well. Obviously, I must say all those teachers who are present here, and of course the participants across India who have come here to watch you, learn from you. That's really something wonderful. So looking forward for all other days program. So stay tuned to all our forthcoming events till 4th July 2020 at 5 o'clock. Everybody should turn us every day till 4th July at 5 p.m. every day to watch more and more encouraging sessions ahead. So thank you once again, and above all, I thank Lord Almighty for not creating any technical sessions, and our technical team for doing so super work for making it so smoothly and happening it. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, once again, I would like to tell the participants that they need to fill the feedback form, which is there in the chat box. It is sent by Ms. Sahana Ravi Prasad. And certificates will be given based on the attendance of yours in all the 5 webinars. So you need to attend all the 5 webinars. You need to give the feedback of all the 5 webinars. And based on your attendance, certificates will be given to you at the end of the 5th day. Within 2-3 days of the end of this particular webinar, you'll be getting the certificate.
Okay, well done, Armand and HK. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, spoke very well,
Thank you, sir.
both of you.
Yeah, really, it was really interesting.
I think we have to learn.
It was very informative.
Yeah.
Yeah.